Welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Great to see you all here. It's a lovely sunny evening. It's sunny every time we have open meetings, isn't it? But, I'm Richard Forman. I'm the chair of Milton Keynes Parks Trust. This evening you're going to hear a few words from David. I'm sure you wouldn't want to miss that. Then from Gamil, one of my fellow trustees, and then from Martin, who heads up our biodiversity within the Parks Trust. Like all of my fellow trustees, and indeed our volunteers, that's our staff, we're really here because we care hugely about the green spaces, the parks, the landscapes, the countryside we have in Milton Keynes. All of us as trustees are appointed for defined terms, so we're continuously looking for new trustees to add to the skill base we've got. As we see it, one of our big challenges, and we talked about this last year, really, and big opportunities, is the growth of Milton Keynes. As a Parks Trust, we're really working hard to make sure the green part of the city's voice is heard as the future plans for Milton Keynes are made. And we're desperately concerned to make sure that we don't end up with a two-tier Milton Keynes with great parks and open countryside, well maintained in original Milton Keynes, and something very second-rate elsewhere in Milton Keynes, which would be a tragedy. We've got towns and cities around the country looking to emulate the Parks Trust set up here. As the city grows, more and more is asked of our staff, and really I'd like to thank them all for doing such a fantastic job once again this year, and for their commitment. I'd like to thank our volunteers, I'd like to thank our fellow trustees, and I'd like to thank you and our other parks users and supporters. And with that, I'll pass on to David. Thank you.
Today we publish our annual report and financial statements. That's it. Are we giving them out at the end? Is that what we do? There are some. So do take one of those with you. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the last financial year, April 2017 to March 2018, and about what we're doing now and some of our plans for the future. But let's get the financial bit out of the way. The trust is in pretty good shape financially. Any wood I can touch, I guess? Yeah. No, I'm not superstitious. Last year we brought in about just over £12 million, and we spent just over £10 million. And that's the way the board sort of likes it, really, that way around. It wasn't always that way when I started, but we're sort of learning how to do it these days. And we grew the total net assets of the company from £104.9 million to £109.7 million. So we grew it by about £5 million. And so we've made good progress towards our long-term target towards achieving financial sustainability, which is really important to all of us. It's really important to you. It's really important to the city. You don't want a Parks Trust that's sort of teetering on the edge and not able to fund its work, and we're getting there. We're not completely out of the woods. We're not completely financially stable yet. Another financial crisis like we had in 2007-8 would set us back again, but we're getting there. We're making good progress, and that means that we can invest more money each year in our parks and open spaces. The two pie charts on the screen there, the first one shows you, the big one shows you where the bulk of our income comes from. So what does it say? 75% is from our commercial property portfolio. That's property dotted around all over the country. 50% of it is in Milton Keynes, but the rest of it is in other parts of the country. So 75% comes from commercial property. 11% of our income comes from our financial investments, mostly on the stock market, which are managed by two investment management houses, Cazenove and Saracen. And then 14% of it we generate through our activities on our green estate here in the park. So that's things like cricket bat willows. Show them a cricket bat, Rob. There we are. Cricket bat willows. We felled about 86, I think, cricket bat trees, willow trees this year, and we've planted another 150. So it's a really good, sustainable way of growing willows and cricket bats. So cricket bat willows and firewood, canal boat moorings, car park charges, not a popular one, but we have 4 car parks where we charge. We have 47 that we don't charge, but we have 4 where we charge. And what else? Canal boat moorings, licenses for events. Oh, and of course our farming activities. That's quite a big income earner for us as well. The cattle and sheep farming that we do on about 800 acres of farmland. We've continued to increase the proportion of our investments, the financial investments that we have in environmentally friendly or sustainable funds. So we've now got 8.6 million in those sorts of funds, funding funds such as wind power and battery technology. That sort of thing is where that money is invested, and we want to grow that. And there are more funds coming on stream that every year, so we're thinking that we can increase our proportion of our investment in sustainability funds. Let's move on to talking about some of the highlights from last year. It was fantastic. During the year we saw some really good endorsement for our work, third-party endorsement. We're always telling everybody how good we are, but we got other people to say how good we were as well in the year. So we won an award, the Business Achievement Awards, for our events programme, which really was fantastic last year, bigger and better than ever. We won 3 horticulture weeks. These are national awards, custodian awards they're called. One for the best visitor initiative, another for the best volunteer initiative, and our Youth Explorers programme won an award as well. And then we've just been and collected today our 2nd Green Flag Award. So the important thing about the Green Flag Award, we got one last year and they've given it to us again. It's behind you, Rob, on the thing there. And Rob's been down to Hackney, of all places, to collect the Green Flag Award today with James. And the important thing to note about the Green Flag Award is lots of towns have a Green Flag Award, but Milton Keynes has got it for the whole network of parks. It's the only city where the whole network of parks has got the Green Flag Award. So that's pretty good feather in the cap for Milton Keynes. And we've just heard, and we heard last week, but we're able to announce yesterday and today that we were successful with our Heritage Lottery Fund bid for the project called Restore, Reveal and Revive Great Linford Manor Park. So that bid that Phil and his team have been working on for a couple of years now will bring in an extra £3.1 million for us to spend on restoration work at Great Linford Manor Park. It's a really important heritage garden site, and we will be able to really do some proper restoration work there. We've got an embryo friends group there at Great Linford Manor Park who have helped us, supported our bid, and we're really looking forward to getting stuck into that over the next, well, it'll be a 4-year project, I think I'm right in saying. We've got to put some money into it, but we get 3.1 million from the lottery. So keep doing the lottery, folks. The money's being well spent. We've put a lot of time and effort into Willen Lake this last year, and we've got a really good team running it now. And it's quite a challenge running Willen Lake. On busy days at this time of year, we get around 20,000 people just in one day. So coping with that, all those people arrive within the space of a few hours, and they leave within the space of a few hours. Coping with that is really quite a challenge, as you can imagine. But Rob and his team there are doing a fantastic job, and we're really impressed and pleased with the improvements that we made there last year. We spent a couple of £1 million last year on Willen Lake with a new car park, because if you remember it was mainly grass parking, and we've now got a new tarmac park. Looks a bit raw, but once the trees grow and the plants grow, it'll soften into the landscape a bit. And we put in a splash and play, which of course is doing fantastically well in this weather for us as well. We've also taken over direct management of the high ropes course, what we call Treetop Extreme now. That used to be franchised out to somebody, but we've taken that back in-house and are running that directly ourselves. And then this year we've just introduced the aqua parks. I think that's on here. Yeah, bottom left is the aqua parks, bottom right is the Treetop Extreme. Aqua parks is a obstacle course in the water, and we're just hoping that we'll have some water left by the end of the summer. It's getting a bit shallower every day. But anyway, we're pleased with Willenake. It's doing very well for us. It is our honeypot park, and it's not to everyone's taste, but thankfully we've got plenty of other places that people can go. And this year we planted 42,000 plants. That's about par for the course, but what we did this year also, we planted 626, very precise, trees across the city. You probably all know that we're busy thinning trees and coppicing trees and managing our tree stock as they get older, giving them more space to grow. But we're also putting new trees in, partly to replace ones that are dying or that we think will die in future. We are pretty sure that we're going to lose a lot of our ash trees and probably a lot of our chestnut trees. But we're also trying to get a little bit more variety into the tree stock in the city. So we've planted some quite interesting varieties to give a bit more colour. Top left we've got a wild service tree. They're a bit unusual. There are a few around in Milton Keynes, but we've got Acorn Nurseries at Emberton to especially grow us 100 this year, and they're going to grow some more for us, I think. Top right we've got our old friends Pyrus Chanticleer, that's the ornamental pear. Bottom right is the silver birch, but the white bark birch, the Giacomonte, I think. And then bottom left is the red oak. Again, we've got a few of those were planted by the Development Corporation, but we're trying to sort of spice it up a bit. We've got some fantastic plantations of semi-natural trees, but we want to get a bit more variety and a bit more colour in the place. We've also planted another 30,000 daffodils, which we tend to do each year, keep replacing and keep extending the the delight that you all get from daffodils in the spring. Not everybody does. Phil hates them, don't you, Phil? Martin doesn't like them either, yeah. So we have a little internal debate about that. But most people love them. Do you all like daffodils? Yeah. Good. You're in the minority again. Now, next we've got, our 4, this is for you, Francesca, our 4 wild conic ponies in the floodplain forest have been joined by some Sussex cattle. The conic ponies are there to manage the sward and try and help us keep a diverse landscape, but they're really not eating it fast enough, are they, Martin? So we've had to supplement that with some Sussex cattle just to try and speed up the process. But that's all working very well. The conic ponies are a bit of a challenge as well because people love them so much, and they are wild, and they're meant to be wild, and but people do have a habit of going and petting them, which is not what is meant to happen. We've purchased 5 electric cars, and we're also now using electric hedge trimmers and some electric saws. So that's a sort of change, yeah. Good thing, you approve? Good, Hilary, I'm pleased. We've done something to your liking. Now our events team, Julie and her gang, they organised and enabled over 500 events in our parkland, and many of which were held to celebrate the city's 50th anniversary last year. We've actively supported some very diverse community groups. We felt we really needed to push on with our diversity work, and Gamil might be telling you a bit more about that later. But we've had some wonderfully diverse events, including the MK Hindu Association's Mela, and the African Diaspora Day, and our old favourite, the Filipino Festival, which has been going for many years. And also, as part of the 50th birthday celebrations, we were delighted to host the Duke of Cambridge here, who visited Campbell Park and unveiled a very special new pillar at the MK Rose. I was really taken with the bit in his speech where he said, I've got the message from everybody that Milton Keynes is a very green city and you're proud of the parks. And that was really good that, you know, obviously we fed him that line, but so did everybody else. It wasn't just us that told him about that. Everybody else told him what a green city it was. So that was really pleasing, you know. And we've just had the city's second week-long Festival of Nature, which we run in partnership with the Milton Keynes Natural History Society and the Wildlife Trust. And that's a really good event that we do each year now. And events such as this, and plus the work that we do with our outdoor learning team, we worked with about 6,000 children last year. That work is all about helping people to better understand and enjoy the environment in which we all live. And we think this is really important. You know, our theory is, and I think it's backed up by evidence, is that people with an understanding of the environment around them tend to appreciate it more and value it and want to care for it. And they will defend it if in due course there is pressure on it to be developed, or there's climate change issues, or there's just vandalism going on. If people have a better understanding and appreciation of their environment, then we think they will support our work and support our values as well. So, looking forward, tomorrow the 10-day International Festival starts, and a lot of that is happening up at the top end of the park here. But we've also got a really, how am I meant to describe this, Julie?
It's a sound and light installation.
Oh, those are the words, yeah. A really interesting artistic intervention at Great Linford Manor Park called For the Birds, and that will be there for a few days during the International Festival. And it's a sound and light installation. It only takes place after dark, so the first, I think, tour round is at 9:30.
Yes.
Yeah. 9:15, 9:30. But that is really, I think, worth seeing. I'm going to see a preview of it tonight at 9:30. So have a look at that. Also looking forward, we're still hoping to build a new cafe and toilets in Campbell Park. There's a bit of a hitch. We're doing that in partnership with the Central Milton Keynes Town Council, and we're still hoping it will go ahead, but we're waiting to hear from them whether they want to proceed or not. We're also intending to submit plans for a new cafe and toilets at Willen Lake later this year, out on the end of the promontory, so we can get rid of the rather substandard building that's not worn very well there, and open up the promontory to more people, to get more people out onto that really valuable, interesting bit of space that tends to get left out at the moment. The cafe and adventure golf at Thurston, you might have seen plans for. That's all going to go ahead, and it should start on site later this year. Inevitably, these things take a long time to organise when you've got to get planning permission, and over there we've had to get permission from Anglian Water because a part of it encroaches onto the dam. So, but that's all should be starting later in the year. We want to make some sympathetic improvements to the buildings at Linford Lakes Nature Reserve, and of course we will be taking on new parks. Every year since we started pretty well, we've taken on new parks as the city has continued to grow, and there'll be new parks coming to us from the western and the eastern expansion area. Those transfers will take place in due course, as will the parks on the western expansion area, which are all ready to go, and at Oak Grove. We're looking forward to taking that central spine down the middle of Oak Grove with all the suds in it. We're pretty excited about the further growth of Milton Keynes. You might think that's strange, you know. You're probably thinking we're a conservation organisation. We wouldn't necessarily be excited about more growth. But if it's done well, you know, the growth and the expansion of the city between Oxford and Cambridge. I'm not thinking that's all going to be great in Milton Keynes, but it does bring opportunities to create some really wonderful large-scale, landscape scale, I think is the expression, parks and country parks and the like. And won't that be wonderful if we could expand the city and build another Ouzel Valley Park or Great Ouse Valley Park or even Teardrops Park and the linear park through there, or Lodge Lake or another Caldecott Lake? That would be fantastic. What I fear is that we won't get that, because the planning at the moment tends to be done on a small red line basis. Someone, this is rather called it the planning on a field by field approach. It's not quite a field by field approach, but it's pretty small scale. And what we really need, if the city's going to expand, and people are making the right noises about this, is a big strategic vision that would result in another Caldecott Lake or another Ouzel Valley being created. And we're going to be pressing hard to see that that happens. But another thing that concerns us about the expansion of Milton Keynes, we're quite comfortable with Plan MK, the new plan that's been put forward by the council that's going through a public examination at the moment. We're quite comfortable with the plan about what it says about new parks. There's, you know, they're saying all the right things, good for them, about creating new parks and good quality green spaces. But the issue for us is they're not saying the right thing about making sure that those parks are going to be properly safeguarded into the future and properly managed. And we're giving evidence tomorrow, as it happens, to the examination in public, trying to persuade the council and the inspector of the Plan MK to ensure that new parks and open spaces are properly managed and provision is made by the developer. We're not saying this should come out of the council tax. The developer should be making provision for the long-term maintenance of those parks and open spaces, as was done in the past, as has been done for this last 26 years since we've been in existence. And we find it really puzzling why the council would want to give up on that, especially when the National Infrastructure Commission, in their report into the Oxford to Cambridge growth arc, held up the Parks Trust as a model of how to do it. So we can't quite understand why the council is prepared to give that up, but hopefully we'll persuade them and our arguments will be won. We're certainly giving it our best shot. Now, don't worry, I'm getting to the end. Just a word about communications. Hannah and our head of marketing is over there. Hannah and her team have worked really hard this last year to create 2 new websites and a new booking system. On the surface it doesn't look much, but boy oh boy was there a lot of work to go into that. And now you can book a session at Splash and Play, you can book your guided walk or your tree tot session all through our website, and you can pay for it as well if you so wish. And you can also communicate with us through our website. You can sign up to get an email or a newsletter, and you can follow us at the Parks Trust and at Will and Lake on Facebook and on Twitter and Instagram. And we love to hear from you, we love to hear from the public, whether it's complaints or praise. You know, people tend not to write too much praise, but we do get some. But the complaints we do want to know about as well. You know, a complaint is a gift, really is. It enables us to do things better and do things differently. If we're doing things wrong, we want to know about it. So do let us know. And do send us your photographs. We love to see your photographs. If you give us permission, we'll put them on our website and on our Facebook feeds as well. And we've got a photo competition running at the moment until September, so you can even enter our photographic competition. And I think all that's left for me to say is that we are immensely proud of the parks in Milton Keynes. We're very proud of the Parks Trust and the job we do, but we're proud of the parks, we're proud of the support that we get from the community. So thank you all very much for coming, and I hope you're just as proud as we are of the parks. Thank you very much.